Hey Sal,
Good morning.
how are you?
So far, so good.
That's good. It's good news. Oh, hey Stephanie. Can't hear you. Nope.
We lost her.
Yeah, she was talking, but I couldn't hear her, so I'm assuming
Oh,
she just had a, she'll come back on.
yeah.
And Ben knows we have a meeting, right?
He does.
Okay.
I think he does.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we
Yay.
can.
Good.
Well,
I
I
mean,
saw Ben at a basketball game last night, and he's like, "Good luck tomorrow."
oh,
So I don't
oh
know.
no.
I
No,
just
you're
I put
right.
Okay, I put two. I just thought about this at 8 o'clock this morning. I'm like, did he mean like good luck tomorrow that he's not coming, or like was he talking about something else? Because I don't even
I
know.
didn't know that he wasn't coming to this. I knew he wasn't going to be at the council
City
meeting
council.
That's
tomorrow.
right. He talked to me about the council meeting
Okay,
not being able to be there. I think he's going to be here today.
okay. I feel like everyone. I'm getting all the days of this week. Monday was a long day, so tomorrow could have been Wednesday. I don't even
Yeah,
So,
is it Friday yet? Like,
I can't believe it's only
ridiculous.
Tuesday.
I
so
know.
we're talking about our next meeting would be when?
Um, our next
The next
subcommittee
subcommittee meeting.
isn't for
The,
a while.
Yeah.
It's I'm trying to pull it back up here.
I mean, the proposals are due on the 18th.
Right. And our next subcommittee meeting is February
The
26th. So
26th, the longer one, yeah.
couple weeks. But
Okay.
I think Brian should also be joining us, my colleague.
Oh,
That
good.
was on my agenda for today. So
Should I text Ben? I'll
I know
text.
I was just going to do that too.
Okay, you go
Yeah,
ahead and
He's
do it.
usually
yeah,
on.
go.
Yeah. For all, like well, not all three of us, but someone.
Are you doing it, Steph? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
on it
okay.
now.
Yeah, Matt probably won't be joining us.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Ben is coming.
Okay, great. Hey, Ben.
Yeah, sorry to be late.
No problem. I will call the meeting of the subcommittee to order.
You guys hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh,
Yeah?
I can hear
Okay.
you. Yep.
Okay, great. Um, does
I'm gonna
anyone
have to
have any?
log back in. I can't hear you.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Sorry.
That's the kind of morning it is. It's this week, Adrian.
I'm telling you,
It's
It
coming
is.
for you.
It's only Tuesday, guys.
That's what I said. I cannot believe it's only Tuesday. Like,
I know.
it feels like it should be a Friday afternoon.
Are you? Oh my God. That's a really unfortunate. Adrian, it's Tuesday morning too. It's not even
I
Tuesday
know, it's
afternoon.
what I'm like, what is happening?
Are you? I can't remember. Did you say you're going away next? No, you're not going away for a few weeks.
Yeah, we have winter break at the end of February, so we're going to go to Florida because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need some warm weather.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we are going in 2 days and I'm just like, or no, tomorrow, but I'm just like, I don't know that I'm ready for like the shock on either end. So we'll see. You
Yeah.
can hear
Ben,
us?
can you hear
I
us
can, yeah,
now?
sorry about
Yes.
Okay,
that. Sorry to be
great.
late.
No problem.
Are there any changes to the agenda? Okay, hearing none, I'll assume it's approved. Uh, General businesses and appearances. Is there any member of the public who would like to speak? Hearing none. We'll move on to item 4, communications update and planning.
Great. I'm going to share my screen. There's a discussion here. Well, I was going to intro Brian, but he's not here yet. So
He's coming though, yeah?
I think he is.
Okay.
I didn't confirm yesterday, but anyway, we'll get to that. Communications, just letting you know, I sent out updates to the developers about this kind of update to our funding strategy for the offsite improvements that includes pursuing both CDBG, DR, and the build grant. They're all aware of it now. They didn't have any substantive questions. There have been ongoing questions from developers, and every time I get those questions, I then send them out to the full group of developers, including most recently, there was a question about CAD drawings for the offsite improvements. So we sent the CAD file. And then also the most recent question that I'm working on that will be distributed this afternoon, and then we'll get these batched and put on the website is the question of how much chip funding they could receive and just kind of for them to understand the scale of how it works. And so just like we did when we modeled the hypothetical scenarios during the master planning process 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we were able to do a scale to tell them, in real time, in current time under these conditions, this is how much TIF would generate. So similarly, we can do that with chip, and I can say, assuming all these factors, now there's all kinds of factors and inputs that will change based on their development program, conditions at the time, terms, etc. So it really is just a illustration for them. And so I've modeled that with the help of staff, and I'll send that out this afternoon. Make sure you guys get a copy too. But it just shows, if it's a $35 million development, it generates X dollars of chip so that if they know their estimates of what the infrastructure would cost internally, they can understand what the city component could cover. So that's
Okay,
that's as
yeah,
much as we've heard.
that makes sense. I was wondering how, when they were asking about how much of the chip they would have access to, they're really talking about what the city's portion is going to of the
What can
infrastructure
we
is going to cover. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Which reminds me, I could probably put in a quick summary of what chip can cover, because remembering that some of these developers are not in state, they can do their own research, but I can point them to the section of the guidance that shows them which improvements are eligible. And then,
I'm sorry, can you just, I just want to make sure that I have clarity on this. Can you, to the degree that you can you explain it a little bit more just in terms of expectations related to CHIP? And, my understanding the difference between CHIP and TIF, right, is that the a TIF would require like a bond vote, right? That the voters are
Mhm.
backing it up. And with CHIP, there's the option of the municipality to do that or the developer to do that.
Correct.
And I'm just wondering, like, what the expectation is. There an expectation set right now of who's going to backstop?
Nope, that won't be determined until we have a development agreement.
Okay,
And we've run a more careful analysis. And it ultimately, I mean, it'd be a mutual decision, but it's somewhat developer led because
right,
the benefit of CHIP is that you can go to the voters and the municipality incurs the debt because and uses its own borrowing rate
right,
cheaper. If you go private, you don't need a bond vote, but it's more likely more expensive.
right.
So that's the
Okay,
distinction. And but it's also, it's not just no bond vote. That can help a lot with timing for them.
right,
So
right.
that is to be determined. And,
Okay,
I think what you're bringing to my attention is I might want to mention a few more times. I already have a few disclaimers about how it's like the factors very much will vary a lot, et cetera, et cetera. But I might want to put in another disclaimer around all of this is subject to change when we negotiate the development agreement. Because in truth, even if we could afford to do all of the eligible improvements, there just may be mitigating reasons why we don't. And I don't know what those might be, but it's ultimately a negotiation. So this is just to
that's
show
yeah,
the broad strokes, but I'll add that disclaimer too.
I like the
that's
idea of
really
adding that
helpful.
disclaimer. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I multiple times said how it's just so subjective to the conditions at the time too. And if their program has a lot more affordable versus market rate, that changes the ratios. So,
Totally.
okay.
Yeah, no, that's great. Help. Thank you.
Yeah, so it was a good question and I think it's a good thing to distribute. And then Evelyn mentioned that she really hasn't heard much, but she's prepared to be working with Mike on this town meeting day table, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Has the subcommittee heard anything else from the public?
No, no,
I
not
will
not
say
really.
there was a comment on on Front Porch Forum about something else really unrelated, but did mention, like, made a kind of offhand comment of like, will housing ever happen in our lifetime at Country Club Road? And it just made me think like, oh, here's a person who doesn't necessarily understand where we are in the process that like
Yeah.
we actually have developers that are putting together proposal. And so it just
Mhm.
reminds me of the importance of kind of like regular updates that are just this is where we are in the process. And just that's really important, that even people who
Yeah.
are paying attention to municipal stuff sometimes get lost in where we are.
Yep.
Yeah, and I will
Absolutely.
just add to that. I think that's why I think tomorrow, Jim pulled those two items off the agenda. And just on this call, I talked to Jim and Palin, and just internally, we're trying to get folks updated on what we're doing, right? So, because not
Mhm.
everyone attends these committee meetings. And I think, in my mind, I think tomorrow is a really good opportunity to provide that update. Like we are doing great things. Like things are moving along. We have the
Mhm.
developers coming along. We
Mhm.
can give a quick update about, the funding, for the VHB and, the financial analysis. Like this is all part of this very large project. And I think this is a good stopgate to say, look, this is what we're doing. Here's the progress we're making. Here's how we're moving through this. Next week, we're going to get the proposals from the developers. I just thought it was a good opportunity to
Mhm.
provide an update because it was, two items around Country Club Road, and I think there are rumblings in the community to like just sell the property. I'm like, no, like this is not
It's the
what we're
opposite.
going to do because
Yeah.
so anyway, that is, I think tomorrow, or yes, tomorrow is Wednesday. I don't know if Mike wants to give an update or, Sal is the chair. I mean, I think just very briefly, just here's where we are, here's what we're doing, here's the plan for the next month. I just thought it was a good opportunity, that's all.
Yeah, no, it is a good opportunity. We gotta plan something. Um, we ought to put something together and run it by you guys.
Sounds good. Just a quick update that the financial analyst has, you're seeing that contract in your packet tomorrow. We did a procurement of soliciting proposals from 4 different folks, and this is the one that qualifies and fits our schedule. And he's prepared to jump on it as soon as we're ready. So that is going to be his findings. What I think is important is that his findings will not all be public, because some of that needs to be considered not only discreet for the proprietary purposes for the developer, but for the city's best interest, because we may use some of what we learn in our negotiations later with the development agreement. So kind of skipping down to my item 5 about executive session prep. After speaking with Mike Tarrant a couple weeks ago, he was telling me about the language, and I'll defer to Sal and the rest of you to come up with what needs to be said and where the sensitivity points would be that you'd want to go into executive session. But you'll see on this agenda, and I can send this out afterwards, this is the schedule. It's the same as it's been, but we're here at February 10th, and proposals are due next week. And then we'll get a chance to brief the new manager, and then we'll talk about the opportunities for public input in a moment. But our meetings are February 26th, March 18th, March 9th, and April 9th and April 15th, all of which may need some executive session component for various reasons. So just to be prepared ahead of time on that. Okay, so let's talk about the public input component. So the proposals are due on the 18th. We'll have them loaded by the 20th for sure. So between the 20th and the 13th generally is our target for collecting input and hearing from the community, because then starting on the 16th, the 16th is when the financial analysis is due to the subcommittee, and when you may begin scheduling interviews. And so that there's a period there for doing interviews and a period for us to do our deliberations. So the key there being this window between the 20th and the 13th for getting feedback. So we know that Mike is setting up a town meeting day table, and the table is actually output. That's the focus of that table, is not to solicit input. It's to send people to the website to make sure they're aware of opportunities for input and where to learn more about the project. That's going to be the most opportune moment to get people aware of that this is happening. So that can send them to the website. It can then send them to the website input form that Evelyn said she'd set up, and we can set that up with specific fields. Maybe she and I and one subcommittee member can come up with what those questions are, but it'd be helpful to direct them to what is it that they like, what is it they're concerned about, or so forth, kind of help structure what they say. So that when it comes back to the subcommittee after the 13th, it's all in one form. And then Adrian surfaced the idea of doing a public session, and I think kind of some of the ideas that I got from the different responses from each of you was maybe it's best as a listening session, not necessarily a chance to there could be a brief overview, right, of what these proposals entail from a high level, but then kind of how do we capture the feedback? Is it in some small tables instead of one mic for the whole room to hear? Could you break out into tables so that everybody has a chance to speak, and it's not an all-night thing, but you have 10 tables or whatever, and you have a person at each table? Maybe it's, one of each of us, and additional counselors to come and listen and take notes and understand what people are concerned about, and then how do we get a summary of that feedback in a digestible way? And then I added this point here, and then I'll stop talking, but then how do you advertise that session?
Stephanie, do you envision if you split it up into different tables that each table would be a different proposal, or that
Oh, no, I hadn't. That could be, but I didn't
Yeah,
think of it that way.
what does the table structure look like? I'm really kind of curious. I'm one of the things I'm curious about is there's almost 2 weeks between between the proposals being ready and town meeting day. And
True.
I'd rather not lose that time. I mean, we'll be looking at them, but it'd be, is it possible that the table would be ready sooner than? I mean, it depends on what's. It sounds to me like it depends on how the proposals are structured. Is that? Am I?
Maybe. I mean, I think you could advertise, you could do the listening session earlier. And yeah, you're right,
Mhm.
Sal, the timing of that is not opportune. So maybe it's the town meeting day table is just to, again, continue the messaging of getting people to the website and, making sure people know to do their input on the input form. But maybe the
Mhm.
session happens sooner. Maybe the session happens just the week before. Well, no, see, we got to be careful of school break. But
Yeah.
in any event, I think the session, my vision was you could have breakout tables and have a facilitator at each about all the proposals, but that way folks have their chance to speak. My fear is that you've got a lot of people that want to speak and maybe not as much time as you want.
I'll say
When
that's
when is school break? Just to get the dates right.
February 20th, I think,
Oh, really? It starts right
or
then.
the
Hmm.
23rd. It's the 23rd, and then we don't go back to school until the 4th.
Wow. So it's that whole period there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very long, painful break.
I'm also wondering, just as we start to discuss this, I'm wondering about getting input from the housing committees and the planning commission folks. Is there a way to make sure that they get an early look at this stuff, as soon as it's ready?
Yeah, we
Uh,
talked about it last night that when we've got the proposals that we would put it on as an agenda item at the planning commission. So and Matt
okay.
can certainly coordinate with Alyssa about when they want to have that, whether it's a special meeting or a regular meeting, because they only meet once a month. Planning commission meets twice a month, so for us it's really easy to fit it in.
Yeah, there's a
Housing
housing meeting
committees
on
once a month.
there's a housing meeting on the 23rd. That might be pretty quick. Um, Ben, you might want to think about a special meeting.
Yeah, I
I don't
wonder.
know.
I think we could do a special meeting. I also wonder, would it be possible to maybe do a joint meeting of the Planning Commission and the Housing Committee? Or is it better to have them separate? Mike, I'm curious what your thoughts would be on that.
Uh, I think the planning commission may want to have their first opportunity just to among
Just among
themselves have
themselves. Yeah.
that, and then if if the housing committee, if both then want to go and meet afterwards to go through and say, here's what we saw, and from our side of the table, this is what we're seeing. Um, where does the housing committee think? Kind of have a, I don't know. But I think
Why
the
don't I?
planning commission
Yeah,
would want to have a full opportunity to
sure.
discuss things.
That's fine. And I'll talk to Alyssa, who chairs the Housing Committee, and see what her thoughts are on it. Or Matt, maybe Matt, it's more appropriate for you to do that. Thank you.
What other committees would be applicable for? I don't want to miss anybody. So, I mean, would the rec committee, I don't even know if they're active, be interested, complete streets, like what other committees would we want to provide input? I could pull up the committee list because I know we have a lot, but not off the top of my head, I don't know.
I think the two you grabbed right there, um, parks and complete streets, and there's a rec committee as well, I believe, or
Okay.
rec board.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, I think at least giving them the overview of this is what it is, so that way they're not on the board thinking the developers are going to be taking our space. Not that I think anyone should be thinking that, but maybe there's somebody on a rec board or a park that's worried about how this is going to play out. And it's like, oh, okay, I can see how all five of these proposals continue to take care of our space that we have for our activities. I think
Mike,
it would be a good opportunity.
Mike, if you want to, you're in touch with the Complete Streets team, right? I'll talk to Alec. I'm talking to Alec a lot these days, so I'll talk to Alec at Parks, and he'll let me know what Arnie thinks. Does that make sense? Yeah.
And what about the Parks Commission? Is that something? I don't really know.
I know Kasha, who's the leader of the Parks Commission. I can ask her.
Yeah, maybe if we just had like like a canned overview presentation, a couple slides, and then we have the website, we have the input form, and we can just do the same thing for each commission or committee. So it's just very, packaged. Like
Yep.
here's the overview.
Two things. One is it Parks Committee or Parks Commission or both?
I think they're
Commission.
both.
Commission.
Just Commission?
And the only thing I'll say with the parks, as much as I think it's good to have them, it's also been very clear Country Club Road is an other publicly owned property. It's not a park. So
Yeah.
they're usually responsible for the parks. But at the same time, this project, I think if we're going to reach out to committees, I think we should reach out to them, even though this is technically not a park.
Hmm.
So one thing I can offer is we did for the actionable plan, we did a video. Basically, it was Zoom like this, and I just ran slides and
Yes.
canned it and recorded it. And then, I mean, because I'm just looking that this is 6 different presentations, and I'm
Totally.
Yeah.
not trying to be a jerk, but that's a lot of time from a pure like timeline perspective that we just don't have a ton of. So wondering if we do a video instead, and ask that each commission or committee chair reserve time that they watch it as if it was a live presentation. And then they have the opportunity to do the same in a website input form, or we just ask them to directly summarize their feedback. So, we have that specific from each committee or commission. That's an option. Don't have to. We can do in person.
Yeah, I would say the in-person, the video, if you were able to, or if somebody was able to put together that video, that would make it a lot easier from a preparation standpoint. But the attendance of the meeting, I already have to go to housing. Matt already has to
Oh,
go to,
sure. Yeah.
we're already going to a couple of these, and
Okay.
the complete streets, when they have questions, because what's going to happen is they're going to see the video and they're going to have questions. If there's nobody there to actually
Yeah.
take it and give it back, then they can,
Okay.
might work better just being there.
Okay. Well, then why don't it could be a both and. It could be do the presentation. I don't necessarily need to be at each meeting, but I could do the presentation of what's happening, of, what we have,
Yeah.
and summarize that with some slides, and then someone is in person from this group.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you have to be there.
I think that's a really good idea, though, to have a video presentation that's consistent, that every committee has access to, and then a staff member, or if needed, subcommittee member to be there in person to try and answer questions. But that video could also be like, that's one more thing that could be shared widely with the community that I think would be really, really valuable. And I think the consistency of having it would be great. So I'd really advocate that we do that.
Okay. I mean, it's not going to be glamorous, but Evelyn can help me. But we can put it on the website. Yeah.
Go ahead, Matt.
It is a kind of detailed, practical question. Sandy is on the housing committee. Does she need to recuse herself, or is she allowed to be there?
Sandy Vitsium.
She
Yeah.
can probably be there, but I would assume she'd need to.
I'm just wondering
she's part of the executive suite team, I think, isn't she?
Right.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, she's on one of the teams, and we're going to talk about the work. I mean, I guess you can hear it anyway.
I would assume that they'll be making, if the committee is making recommendations around feedback, then she would recuse herself from that vote. But I think it's fine for somebody to like show up and listen. It's just, I think if there's recommendations coming out of the committee that require a vote of the committee, if somebody's involved in a proposal, they should recuse themselves.
Yeah, I agree. I just wondered if there were rules.
Yeah, there are.
Well, it sounds like we want to do as many of these things as possible. I mean, we have a limited amount of time here, and I think it's important to get as much input as we can. Go ahead, Adrian.
So I would also propose, it looks like on March 4th, there's a school board meeting. So I could ask to I could volunteer to just share the PowerPoint with them and go and because that's a good, right? The schools are, we need to include the schools.
Yeah,
It's a
Yeah.
good
that's a great
audience.
one. That's a great one. Yeah.
So I think that's March 4th. Oh wait, shoot. Oh no, we
You're
don't.
away, aren't you?
I'm back, but I just made sure because it's a Wednesday because they also have meetings on Wednesdays, but it's
Oh,
not, we don't have a city council meeting that night.
No, I think first council meeting's the 11th
Okay,
after
good.
town meeting day.
So I'll put that. So I think the school board, I'm just thinking of partners. Like who else could we potentially, I think there's a balance of too much and not enough, right? I think this is,
hmm.
I mean, obviously one of the most important developments that we're going to have in our lifetime. So let's share it with folks and get them excited about it. I think that's where I am. Like, let's get them, it's real, like it's happening. So, school board I could do. And then the other thing I did research, I looked into the library for a time, but the library is booked. Man, they are busy. Every room is booked. So I did reach out to my school folks and they said just contact the scheduler at the high school. If we wanted to have a meeting at the high school, I could organize that. And I would recommend doing it in the cafeteria because when we had our Vision Montpelier, we had all the tables set up. And it's kind of what your vision was, Stephanie. Like we had all the proposals on the tables and we had little groups to provide input. And we had a projector, we did a quick PowerPoint slide to do an introduction, and I think that was probably one of the best locations to have that type of like roundtable discussion. So I could work on that if there's dates that you all can't participate, let me know. I was thinking between the fourth, between the fourth and the 13th. Because
Yeah.
no one's going to do anything before winter break. It's like the worst time. It's not going to
Well,
happen.
one of the things that um, I've been thinking about with regard to this information campaign is that I think the proposals are going to be pretty dense,
Yes.
Mhm.
not easy reading. I mean, they'll be there in all their glory for anyone who wants to plow through them, but um, I think it's going to be critical for us to summarize in a way that, I mean, I take it that's what the table that Mike's working on will in part accomplish, but I think we need to summarize the information, compare one proposal to another in ways that people can absorb quickly and understand without having to go through all of the detail, which they then can do. We can probably develop an FAQ as we start to get the same questions over and over again.
Mhm.
But I mean, am I on the same page with folks when we're talking about the kinds of presentations we're talking about?
Yeah, like
You
that
know,
was like people
yeah,
aren't going to read like I don't know, Stephanie, what a packet is for a proposal, but in my mind, which you all can correct me because I'm very elementary in this, right? So in my mind, a PowerPoint presentation would be like, here are the five proposals and do like an executive summary of each,
Mhm.
right? With like, I mean,
Mhm.
most people's brains, could only take, here's proposal one, here's what they're proposing, maybe with like a picture. And
Mhm.
then here's proposal two, here's what they're proposing with the picture, whatever. And then you can have the full proposals and they're on the website and we have the
Mhm.
input form. So it's kind of that executive summary,
Yeah.
like 50,000 foot overview.
Yeah.
And then we can dig a little bit deeper during the roundtables, but we're not going to go into like the widths of the roads and the
No, and I think the important thing with this, if it's a listening session, is that the upfront presentation is what gives the information out. And during the listening sessions, my fear is that if we start answering questions, um, we may be, I mean, if we had 10 tables, we need 10 people who are equally informed about these. So I would feel more comfortable collecting questions, collecting feedback, collecting questions, and then generating a response of all of those so that we're giving everybody the same information and that everybody who's sitting at each table has all the information, right? I mean, my fear is that there's not 10 of us that are going to have maybe the depth of knowledge on these, and therefore, if they answer a question wrong. Now, that said, you could just make sure that every ambassador has the phrase, "I don't know, I'll write that down," locked and loaded, because there could be easy questions to answer, of course, but it's just my thought.
Matt, go ahead.
Thanks. I think there needs to be both a person to listen and a person to take notes, right? There needs to be
Yeah,
a
probably.
dedicated note taker at every table. So it's a lot of people, depending on how many participants there are.
Or we use AI.
Well, we can do that.
Note-taking with AI.
We can do that, and I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, we could.
But somebody needs to be present, and you can't get all the nuance of every comment if you're not
I agree with that.
actively engaged in the conversations.
I suppose we could test AI to see how well it works. It works pretty well in my experience. I don't have a lot of experience with it, but yeah, no, I think that's important. You really do need a note taker, somebody who's paying attention to what's going on instead of trying to interact with, with the
Right.
with the audience. Yeah.
And to keep track of whose question, who gets to comment next, and
yeah,
kind of ringleader.
Yep.
Would it be useful in advance of receiving the proposals to come up with a list of categories of information that we want to extract out of each proposal, like the number of housing units and I don't know, number of trees. I don't know what the categories are, but maybe the subcommittee could have a document that we all contribute to when we think of things that we know that the community will be concerned about, that we could ask, make sure we find in their proposal.
We could do it in advance. We could also do it when we get them, it may depend on what kind of rises to the top of most important. I mean, there's the obvious ones, but we might just want to wait. And then I think the question, what I really want to get clear on is, what are we asking of the community? Are we saying we want concerns, likes, long-term interests? What are we asking? Adrian's got her hand up.
So
yeah, jump in, Adrian.
I'm just looking at our schedule. I'm wondering because we're not going to solve this today, right? Like we're not going to solve all these. So I'm wondering, I would volunteer myself if anyone would want to work with me to potentially consult with Stephanie, look at, what are those questions, right? Like what is the goal of this? What do we want to get out of these sessions? So we start at the end. What do we want to walk away with and say, wow, that was really successful. Here's all the information we received that's going to help us do what, right? So I think that is a conversation that we need to have. And then from there, you kind of back into your presentation, right? So here's what we want to share with you. Here's what we want to get back. And then how are we going to collect it? How are we going to summarize it? And then how are we going to use it to, right? It's a whole process.
Right.
So I'm more than happy to work with that on someone and then help build those slides. And then obviously we would loop back with the subcommittee to approve before we went out and did any type of, all of our outreach. But it's coming up very quickly. And so I think there needs to be, an offshoot of this where we sit down and just go through all of these details and, maybe even work with Evelyn on the input form, right? Like making sure we're asking those right questions. Do we want to, have it, pull down list from each committee, I'm a structures person, so I can see it in my head, but I just want to make sure what we're collecting, we're able to use that data to inform our decisions. But it's really important how you build that structure because we don't want a whole bunch of junk data that we have no idea what we're doing with. So
I think that's a great idea, Adrian, for homework. I think what if we between like maybe by the end, by like in 2 weeks time or whatever, Adrian, you're out. Are you going to miss the 26th meeting?
no, I'm here. I don't leave till that evening, so I'll be here that morning.
Okay, okay. So between in the next couple of weeks then, before the 26th meeting, a subgroup of the subcommittee can get together and do a kind of a workup of the form. What are we trying to get out of this? And how do we structure? It may even be if we can meet after the 18th or after even the 20th, and we have the proposals to understand some of like what are the categories of what we want to present. Something to come back to discuss on the 26th, I think makes a lot of sense.
Has to be a warned meeting.
Well, I don't know if it's not just if it's one subcommittee member and a staff member and me, is that?
One member would be fine. Adrian.
Yeah. I was thinking if it's like Adrian and Mike or Matt and me.
Yeah, no,
could
that'd be
enough.
fine.
Does that sound like
that'd be fine.
like, or would Ben
Yeah.
or Sal be sad not to be included? Are you okay?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I'll make it.
You'll make it. We'll pay for your therapy. It's gonna
That's
be okay.
fine.
And Adrian has your confidence. And I'm in,
Okay.
and
Yeah, I can I can be, and I'll just say the ultimately all this public input is for the benefit of you three, Sal, Adrian, Ben.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately that's what the question. So really the questions are up to you guys. What do you guys need to know to help make your decision? I want to hear from the public because I want to know what they think. Ultimately, you're going to be weighing the community kind of liked these types of ideas or this particular project, but you guys also have this second level of stuff that you're reviewing on financials. And it's like,
Mhm.
that would be great. We've looked at the financials and that isn't going to fly. And then we've got other decisions, but ultimately you're making a recommendation. I think all this input is for you. And I think that's, if you guys know what you kind of want to hear, I think Adrian's right. Having that framed out would be really helpful.
So a good point, Mike. So the homework really is for the three of us before the meeting on the 26th or before this subgroup meeting to submit our ideas.
Yeah, I mean, you could, like the three of you could just, or at least two of you, the two that aren't in that working group, say what it is you're looking for if you have specific ideas, or you could just
send them to Stephanie because you can't send them directly
Don't send
to
to each
Adrian
other.
because that would be an open meeting violation. So send them directly to Stephanie and Stephanie can distribute.
Or if you just want to defer to how, and give feedback instead, it's kind of either way. There's no wrong answer.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I'm kind of just like stating the obvious too, but I just want to really reemphasize that idea of like, what are we actually looking for and what are we going to do with the information that we get? And I think Mike's point's really well taken about clarity on like decision making and what the inputs are that will inform that decision making. I mean, I think like Adrian, thinking about like, what do we want to see it look like? To me, if we had 100 people that came to a meeting and talked about like, here's what I liked about this thing, or this is the question I have, like that's successful and that's information that will inform our thinking. If we have a meeting of 10 citizens that have been deeply engaged in this process and are very loud voices and say the same thing, and then there's this expectation that that's a decision-making body in some way, that would be a problem, right? Because it's like setting expectations of what we're going to do with that input, and then the reality is we have all kinds of things that we need to decide. So I just think framing it well is really important, that this is like one input of decision making, and this is the kind of input that we're looking for, I think would be helpful.
So I would say, just for the purposes of keeping us on time here, the sub working group here of Adrian, me, and staff will have a meeting sometime before the 26th. If Ben or Sal have additional thoughts of what you think should go into that thought process, send them to me by Friday, like by this Friday, or let's just say this Friday, just for simplicity. And then that will inform the three of us talking or the four of us talking. And then the question for today's meeting, so we can come up with more about expectations, format, input, that sort of thing. But what I am afraid what we need to solve today is what meeting are we trying to book and where? I mean, so we've agreed we're gonna do a presentation recording plus Q&A at each of the subcommittees or committees and commissions, etc. What are we doing for this listening session, and when is that getting booked? And where? I guess that's a lot of questions.
I think Matt has his hand up.
Yeah,
Jump in.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to spin our wheels or go around in circles, but there's going to be an online forum for providing feedback, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if we have a room of citizens who want to talk about this stuff, the feedback could still be that same form. Like, here's a QR code on the table. If, as you all are discussing this, you have a comment or a question about the plans, please enter it in the, on the platform that's been provided for feedback.
Yeah.
Rather than having somebody, now I'm thinking through, I'm changing my mind. Rather than having somebody taking notes all the time, just have people put their notes into the feedback section that's already been created.
That's what I was thinking too, Matt. Like if I think we have to decide what that architecture is gonna look like for that forum, right? So do we want to segment it by, the planning commission, here's their input, here's the housing committee, here's their input, like here's the open forum, here's their input, right? Like how do we want to segment our audiences? And I think if we do have, that open session, we have those conversations and we'll talk about goals and outcomes during our small meeting, but we could have a computer set up for folks. If they don't have a computer at that right time, they can listen and learn and then provide their feedback, or folks that want to go home and provide feedback, we can provide that link and QR code, just thinking about all terms of accessibility if, some people might not have computers. So
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, realistically, I think we need to do both if
Yeah.
we can, because a lot of people are, they're going to the meeting to talk about their concerns and issues, and they want to be done with it when they leave.
Yeah. I mean, anyway, I think that's a good, we'll think more through that, but I put my note for that. And I think on your list for solicit input, do you all want me to present to the school board as an audience? I'm thinking just the PowerPoint presentation, no input. Like, here's what's happening in our community. Here's where we are in terms of timeline. Here are 5 proposals if you're interested to learn more. I mean, it can even be during open comment session. Like, it doesn't have to be like a super detail, just like for situational awareness for school board.
And send them to the input form.
Yeah.
Because we want their input as individuals as well as members of the school board. Yeah.
So, I mean, I could do that on the 4th and just
Sounds
even
great.
go to open comment. I don't need to be like all formal.
No, that sounds great.
Okay.
I think that's great.
I
And
will
send
do
them
that.
to the video. Hopefully
Yes.
by then there'll be a video.
And then do you want me to book a space at the high school in the cafeteria between March 4th and March 13th? Or no, February. Wait, what month are we?
March, you're right.
March. I put February down. Oh my God. This is my day. Welcome to Tuesday. March 4th to the 13th. I could do that.
Yeah.
You just need to send me an email of dates that you can. I'm thinking in an evening from like 5 to 7 or 6 to 8.
Well, you guys can do that afterwards, can you?
Yep. You guys
Yeah.
can send them to me.
You just
Okay.
send
I
them.
can help.
Yeah. Go
I
ahead,
can help.
Matt.
For the website input form, is that Evelyn going to do that? Are we going to ask
Evelyn's going to
Evelyn?
do that, but yeah, we'll give her direction on that after we meet as a small group.
Okay, because we'll need to have that live as soon as the proposals come in, right?
Yes, I would agree, or at least as soon as they're uploaded. If it's going to be delayed, we just put that on the website and when it's going to be
Do
available.
you want to put that date though on the?
Yep. Matt, could you, I'm running low on time today. Could you let Evelyn know? Like I'll send this back out to all of us.
Yeah,
but
I'll talk to Evelyn today.
Can you give her the update on all this? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I've been taking notes, but I'm gonna review. I'll review the video after the meeting and make sure that we have a list of what we've actually decided here. Stephanie,
Well,
I'm sure you'll do the same.
Yeah, the small group is going to meet before February 20th. to make sure we have the right structure for the input form and the right structure for the listening session. And that's going to be then circulated back to Ben and Sal to make sure there's agreement. We'll get that website form up by the 20th. The proposals will be loaded by the 20th. And sometime between, I'm going to say well, let's look at this for a second. Between the 23rd and I'm going to say like the 23rd and the 25th, I'll get a video done. I don't want to guarantee anything because we don't know the depth of all these. I've got to read them all and then, get comfortable with everything that, make sure we have the right takeaways to present. Yeah.
If it would be useful, I'd be happy to help you. Like
that was a given. Sorry, that was a given. I wasn't
Okay.
waiting for a volunteer. I'm so sorry. I already assumed you'd help me.
I can collect the key images or whatever and put them in a slide deck, and then you could do the voiceover maybe. Something like that.
No, I was totally going to depend on you. So that sounds great.
Stephanie, do we expect to get all 5 proposals? Do we expect to
I
get
don't
5
know.
proposals?
That is a good question. We've been saying up to 5 for everything, including the financial analyst, because we don't know yet. We haven't had any indication to the contrary.
Okay. Great.
Okay, with 10 minutes left, I can introduce Brian Pine. So Brian is joining us. So let me just kill this screen share. So Brian, this is the subcommittee and staff. And as I've explained, when I'm on medical leave, Brian's been happy to jump in, and he's been briefed on everything to date. He's digested all of the actionable plan, the RFQ, the RFP, the qualifications, etc. And then we'll just stay in lockstep until I'm gone. So he'll read all the proposals and such. But do each of you want to say hello? And then he can say hello as well and say who you are.
Yeah. Hi, Brian. I'm Sal Alfano. I'm chairing this committee. Happy to have you on board. Good luck.
Thanks, Al. Hi.
I have had the pleasure and privilege of working with Brian before on projects. And I will say one of the great experiences I had with Brian was walking around the north end of Burlington with him. He is Mr. Burlington. And I felt like I was with the Pope or something. And it was so well known and beloved. So anyway, Brian, it's great to work with you on this project. I'm really glad you're here.
Thanks, Ben.
Adrian.
Hi, Brian. I'm Adrian Gill. I'm a city councilor for District 1 here in Montpelier and part of the subcommittee.
So those 3 are all city councilors and then on the subcommittee as well. And Mike and then Matt.
Yeah. Hi, Mike Miller, Director of Planning and Community Development. And just been working on this for a long time. So it's good to have you, Brian.
Hi, Mike. Nice to see you.
And I'm Matt Jalisik. I'm the Community and Economic Development Specialist for Montpelier. I work for Mike, and I've been not working on this a long time. I only moved to Vermont to take this job in September.
I recall we met at the development conference, I think. So
yeah, we did.
Yeah, I appreciate the commitment. I served on our city council when I was a youngster in the 90s, and then I took a break for about 20-something years after raising kids, and then got back on. And then the mayor asked me to be the director of the Community and Economic Development Office. So I did that for a few years. And I'm really excited to work on this project. I'm thrilled to be part of the Whitenburg team, and I've been following your work pretty closely. I even know who all the city councilors are. So when Stephanie said those are the city councilors, I thought, yeah, I knew that. So yeah,
That's good.
I'm a nerd for municipal government. I'm a municipal government nerd.
He fits in well. We worked together first on the downtown Burlington TIF district. So he was involved in both the waterfront and the downtown TIF district. So he's very intimately familiar with the economic development tools. So he came to us kind of pre-baked. We never get new staff members that have the training that he does. So it was fantastic. I worked for Mike in Barry pretty much at the same time as I worked for you, Brian, in Burlington. So it's funny to me that you two aren't already best friends, because that's been a long time working for both of you.
Great. Yeah.
Great. Well, Brian will be available to you as I have been but he'll attend the next meeting. Maybe he'll even join our small subgroup, Adrian, and we'll just go with step by step. And yeah, I appreciate you all.
And Mike and Brian, you're able to do that, join in. That makes sense to have some overlap and so on.
Definitely.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah, we want this to be seamless. There should be no bumps in the ride. There are going to be other bumps, but not this one. We don't want this to be a bump.
And Stephanie, when does your
March 11th? So I was just gonna send Adrian a note that like if we could do this like March 9th or something, that listening session, I'd love to be there. So we'll see.
Okay.
And then I'm hoping to beat all the doctor's odds and be back very quickly. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right.
One question about Montpelier is in the last couple of minutes are any of you running and have opponents running against you?
No, actually, I think two of us are running and we're unopposed.
You're shoo-ins. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes,
could be a wild write-in campaign, but I doubt it.
That is a good question, and something we had to quickly and carefully evaluate because it could have changed the structure of our subcommittee midstream. But the only change in leadership will be the mayor. The mayor is changing, so
continuity helps with projects like this for sure.
And the city manager.
Yep.
True. So yes, on our list, as we talked about, Brian, the new manager starts in a few weeks. So sometime after we get the proposals, it's our task to meet with Kelly and get her up to speed.
Yep.
So, all right.
Brian, is there anything you need from us?
No, I think Stephanie's giving me the the orientation really to the project. So I think that's the key thing, and I'll be in touch when I have any questions. Yeah,
great. Any input you have is welcome at any time, Brian.
And he's now on that. When I send the follow-up email, he'll be with this updated notes. He'll be on that, so you'll have his email.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay,
great.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Good. Anything else, folks? Yeah. No. All right. Great. We're adjourned at 8:56. Use your 4 minutes wisely.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Have a great day.
See ya.